Your mind and mine are such great lovers, they have freed themselves from cautious human clay, and on wild clouds of thought, naked together, they ride above us in extreme delight. We see them, we look up with a lone envy and watch them in their zone of crystal weather that changes not for winter or the night. Two Minds by Sarah Teasdale. Hello once again, I'm Don Jackson. The poet Percy Shelley invites us to play a little game of What Am I? I am the daughter of earth and water and the nursling of the sky. I pass through pores of oceans and shores. I change, but I cannot die. The poet is describing a cloud. I was looking up at the full moon rising in a cloudless winter sky when I thought about doing this webcast. It presented me a view that I've seen throughout the year when the clouds are noticeably absent. But a cloudless sky is not what's at the heart of this program. This is from a writer who lived circa 450 AD. I wish I were the ivy climbing high in the pine tree, and you were the moving clouds, so we could see each other as you pass by. William Wordsworth would have liked to have been a cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. The poet Matsuo Basho, who lived well over 300 years ago, would have liked that imagery that Wordsworth put to paper, and I quote, "The months and days are the travelers of eternity. The years that come and go are also voyagers. I too, for years past, have been stirred by the sight of a solitary cloud drifting with the wind to ceaseless thoughts of roaming." End quote. Take my hand. I thought we might drift with the clouds for a while. As for the moon, it was full but veiled behind the pink panoply of clouds. And so we were in a thin, rosy, and penetrable darkness. And all around us, the garden was alive and balmy and seeming to feed upon us with countless tiny mouths. An excerpt from Blood Canticle, The Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice. Our metaphors for weather are interesting to say the least. Weeping rain clouds and their tears that fall to the ground. Other clouds that are sometimes described as being sullen, and thunder that sighs in the distance. I've even seen the moon and the sun playing hide and seek with the clouds. Again, it was Shelley who wrote, "She faded like a cloud which had outwept its rain." Our ancestors knew to look to the sky before embarking on any kind of a journey, especially by sea. They were looking for clear skies as well as storm fronts. Cirrus clouds were known as mare's tails, and cirrocumulus clouds had the distinct shape of a mackerel's scales. Sailors knew these clouds were the portents of an area of low pressure. Even when traveling by land, our forefathers always knew to look up, especially if they were alone on horseback, and even if one of them was a vampire. Anne Rice, in her book Vittorio the Vampire, wrote, "Finally, the heedless night did plunge down amongst the thick trunks of the trees, and I was picking my way, counting on the instincts of my horse more than on my own failing vision. The pale half-moon seemed in love with the clouds. The sky was nothing but bits and pieces, thanks to the canopy of foliage above me." It was Ralph Waldo Emerson who wrote, "The man who has seen the rising moon break out of the clouds at midnight has been present like an archangel at the creation of light and of the world. I listen to the clouds, and they say, be creative, be expressive, let your spirit run free, let yourself be light and gay, but let yourself be heavy and sad, cry when you feel like it. An excerpt from a writing by Dr. Charles Roper. Rabindranath Tagore described the origin of a smile. The smile that flickers on baby's lips when he sleeps. Does anybody know where it was born? There is a rumor that a young pale beam of a crescent moon touched the edge of a vanishing autumn cloud, and there the smile was first born in the dream of a dew-washed morning. The smile that flickers on baby's lips when he sleeps. He also wrote, when I bring you colored toys, my child, I understand why there is such a play of colors on clouds, on water, and why flowers are painted in tints. End quote. When we lie in the grass on a warm summer's afternoon, we look up at the clouds passing overhead and see cloud pictures that seem to be only for our enjoyment. It is easy to forget that you're really looking at them for what they are. Aristophanes wrote, haven't you sometimes seen a cloud that looked like a centaur, or a leopard perhaps, or a wolf, or a bull? William Shakespeare in Antony and Cleopatra wrote, sometimes we see a cloud that's dragonish, a vapor sometimes like a bear or lion, a towered citadel, a pendant rock, a forked mountain or blue promontory with trees upon it. The clouds ever present, yet no two the same, give lively imaginations a game. Look, a sailboat, a rabbit, an angel, a swan. And it's the best kind of game because no one's ever wrong. That's an excerpt from Gratitude by Mark Rickerby, featured in Chicken Soup to inspire the body and soul. We counted clouds as they drifted overhead and watched the landscape change when their shadows passed by on their journey to wherever the wind saw fit to take them. Many years ago, I used to fly regularly with a coworker who was building up his hours in order to apply for an airline pilot's job. Every day after I was off the air, we would go and rent a Cessna for a few hours and spend the time cloud hopping. Years later, I would find this poem and remember those days. Have a seat upon a cloud and make yourself at home. You are now inside my dreams, inside a book, inside a poem, where anything can happen if you only make it real. Plunge into my waters if you're not afraid to feel. Take off your shoes and close your eyes. Relax upon my sand. Join me in my land of dreams. Reach out and take my hand. Let me share my dreams with you until you find your own. I'll take you there if you believe. Take mine out on loan. Where birds are words, so gracefully they glide across the sky. Leave behind your worries. Here, the rules do not apply. Pick my flowers if you like, and plant a seed or two. Paint the sky in polka dots if you do not like it blue. Climb my trees, face your fears, erase them one by one. See the world from up above, and don't stop at the sun. When the world starts raining down and the sun is out of sight, let your dreams control your mind and help you through the night. There's a place inside my dreams for all who care to roam. So have a seat upon a cloud and make yourself at home. It's by Daniel Rosenblatt, featured in Chicken Soup for the Teenage Soul 3. Henry David Thoreau wrote, "Some men make you feel as though the warm sun had broken through the clouds, while others make you feel as though a sudden east wind, with its arms full of cold fog, had caught you with too thin clothing." That quote reminded me of this from the 2003 edition of the Friendship Book of Francis Gay, published by D.C. Thompson and Company. And I quote, "What would we do without our climate? Even with a complete stranger, we can immediately start a conversation by talking about the weather. It is a subject guaranteed to break down all barriers, yet, in a different sense, climate can also be a barrier, for so much depends on an individual. Take the person who is chilly to everyone they meet. They pass that chilliness on. Then there's the person who's cloudy, full of gloom, leaving you feel miserable. And what about the person who knows how to put the whole world to rights, thundering on about everyone and everything? Well, at least that climate is invigorating, if somewhat exhausting. Then there's the person with a sunny climate, beaming at you in greeting, creating an immediate warm feeling. It makes you feel that even if the sun isn't actually shining, it will be very soon. This is an excerpt from Some Men Are More Perfect Than Others by Merle Shane, a Bantam book, and I quote, Santayana wrote in an essay entitled Cloud Castles about the virtue of impermanence, pointing out that clouds are all different, and that, as well as there not being two clouds the same, the clouds themselves keep changing, and hence are never the same for very long. Marriages work best when both people in them allow each other to be like those clouds, delighting in each other's changes. And those who, attempting to find security by eliminating inconsistencies, eliminate the miraculous with the same deft hand. There is no security in a relationship that tries to hold on to what was, nor is there security in the one that dreads what might be. There is only security when we accept what is here now, with its limits and its surprises, and when it goes, in accepting what comes as we would turn over the pages of a book. Merle Shane, from Some Men Are More Perfect Than Others. It's interesting to note that the original Charlie's Angels actress Farrah Fawcett once revealed that she learned about the ways of making love by simply watching the clouds gently bump together. The writer of this piece remains unknown, and I quote, "When somebody dies, a cloud turns into an angel and flies up to tell God to put another flower on a pillow. A bird gives the message back to the world and sings a silent prayer that makes the rain cry. People disappear, but they never really go away. The spirits up there put the sun to bed, wake up the grass, and spin the earth in dizzy circles. Sometimes you can see them dancing in a cloud during the daytime when they're supposed to be sleeping. They paint the rainbows and also the sunsets and make waves splash and tug at the tide. They toss shooting stars and listen to wishes. And when they sing wind songs, they whisper to us, "Don't miss me too much. The view is nice, and I'm doing fine." I will always remember the final sequence in the dreamlike film by Ang Lee called Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. The beautiful choreography of the hand-to-hand swordplay, the gravity-defying feats of strength and courage on sheer walls, and during those breathless few moments flying across the rooftops of ancient Peking. It is a beautiful love story and a tale rich with spiritual meaning. Do you remember the sequences high in the canopy of the lush green forest? Those made my heart almost skip a beat. And what about the concluding sequence when Jen jumps off the mountaintop and floats like a butterfly through the clouds and mist? It gives us even more pause to consider the words of Chu Wang, who said, "I do not know whether I was then a man dreaming I was a butterfly, or whether I am now a butterfly dreaming I am a man." And finally, this wonderful story by Jamie Sams. The Thunder Beings were busy giving birth to new clouds, sending them to dance in the blue playground of sky. Grandfather's son provided the glittering sunbeams, which acted like jump ropes for today's newborn white, puffy cloud people. One of the most curious little clouds wandered off on the winds. She decided she was going to have a talk with Sacred Mountain. "Grandmother Mountain, I've come to ask you if your forests need rain today," she said. "I want to be of service, and so I thought I'd better find out what is needed most." Sacred Mountain told the little cloud that there was plenty of moisture today, but the little one could help in another way. Sacred Mountain taught the little cloud how to understand the thoughts and questions the human beings were having. It was fun for the little cloud to capture the waves of human thoughts rising from the earth, and to answer the humans' unspoken questions by becoming shapes that formed a series of ideas. The needed answers were found through the linking ideas. The little cloud approached Sacred Mountain at the end of the day with another question that caused Cloud to have a heavy heart. "Grandmother Mountain, I've worked all day to reflect helpful answers to the human tribe, but now I have one very important question. How do we get them to look up and pay attention?" Good night, sweet dreams. I'm Don Jackson.